Surrogate's belly keeps growing. Doctor discovers something in ultrasound. Shanice decided to do the most selfless act humanly possible, become a surrogate for a young couple. She witnessed surrogacy before, so she thought her experience wouldn't be any different. Shanice followed all the steps. She made sure to take her prenatal vitamins, eat healthy meals, and of course get enough rest. After something felt wrong, Shanice went to the doctor. You'll never believe what he discovered in the ultrasound. The pregnancy was going well. That is, until the second trimester hit. Even though this was Shanice's first pregnancy, she knew something was wrong when her stomach grew substantially larger than what's considered normal. What, was something wrong with the baby? She could never satisfy the baby's hunger. Her back was in excruciating pain due to the extra belly weight, and comfort was a thing long in the past. Was this all normal? On the way to the hospital, all Shanice felt was anxiety and fear. The nurse tried to calm her down during the ultrasound. Don't worry, every experience of pregnancy is different. Some women have it easy, others have it tough, she explained. There should have been words of comfort, and they were until the monitor flickered, and the nurse stood up and rushed from the room. They were leaving Shanice with more questions than answers. Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story. Shanice grew up in a loving home. Her parents were excellent role models, showing her the importance of family and sticking together. Her sister Linda found her partner at a very young age and was quick to marry right after graduation. But not everything is as it seems, and although the couple was perfect on the outside, they had many problems early on in their married life. Even witnessing her sister struggle with marriage, Shanice always wished for a family of her own. Linda left home when Shanice was still a teenager, and like most teenagers, the little sister was delighted to be rid of her older sister. It meant no more sharing a room, no more listening to her sister complain about the dirty laundry on the floor, and no more constant fighting. Life was going to be so much better being the only child in the house, or so Shanice thought. With her sister gone, although they often fought, the house became too quiet for Shanice. The lack of yelling didn't faze her parents, but Shanice felt a bit empty. It's not like she didn't see her sister, then catch up on weekends, but it wasn't the same. The closer Linda got with her husband, the more she seemed to push Shanice away. So she went to talk to her older sister, only to find her in an unexpected state. In typical mad sister fashion, Shanice stormed up to Linda's cul-de-sac. She had her game face on and was ready to tell her sister how she felt about their growing distance. That's when she heard her brother-in-law's truck, a sound she'd recognized a mile away. Shanice did what any family member would do and waved. Strangely, he didn't wave back and had a stern look on his face. She ran up to the house. Josh, her brother-in-law, could spot a friendly face a mile away. Maybe he was in a rush, had a hard day at work. Pushing the thought to the side, Shanice walked up to her sister's front door, noticing that the once beautiful rose garden was withered. Did someone ruin their garden, or was her sister being neglectful? After knocking 6 times in their secret rhythm, Linda opened the door. Shanice was shocked at what she saw. Linda took pride in her appearance, always keeping her makeup perfect and nothing out of place. That's why her red nose, smeared mascara, and dark eye circles took Shanice aback. She ran to the kitchen for a wet cloth, returning to pat her sister's face with a cool material and ask her a serious question. Did he hurt you? Don't be silly, I asked him to leave. Shanice believed her. After all, Linda's never lied to her before, so why start now? At a young age, Shanice made a promise to herself never lie to her sister. If she couldn't trust Linda, who could she trust? But Linda was shaking up, making Shanice question her sister's honesty. Maybe the couple was too young when they got married. Their mother had warned Linda that they weren't mature enough and she didn't listen. Why would you ask him to leave, Linda? What's going on with you two? Shanice had a few scenarios playing through her mind, but she never expected this. Linda couldn't keep the tears at bay. You know, we've been trying for a year now, Shanice. He wants to take out another loan for IVF, but we can't afford it. We couldn't afford the first treatment. Shanice struggled with her own emotions. She's been there for her sister through all her firsts. First heartbreak, first fight with Josh, even the day before the wedding when she had cold feet. But none of that matched up to fertility issues. Shanice was going to be by Linda's side. Shanice knew Linda would never be truly happy without a child to call her own. So she made sure she was going to be there for her sister to support her, starting with a sleepover. And what's a sleepover without nail polish and face masks? Over the course of the weekend, Shanice convinced Linda to try one last time. What could it hurt? Linda took her little sister's advice. They never thought that a sleepover would have such a lasting impact on their lives. After 2 years of fighting and making up, Linda finally got pregnant. Shanice couldn't have been happier for her sister and brother-in-law, but Linda wanted to keep it a secret until their reveal. They never made it to that point in the second trimester. With a miscarriage, Linda gave up all hope of her dream family. Maybe being a mom wasn't in the cards for her. She became a hermit, hiding from the world, but Shanice wasn't gonna let her sister drown in her sorrow. For 2 months, Linda refused to leave the house. She was only getting out of bed to bathe and watch television. Even Shanice couldn't lift her sister's spirits. She was broken. That didn't sway Shanice from trying. She would drag her older sister from bed to the bathroom, cook her favorite meals, and even paint her nails in bed. Just as everyone thought all hope was lost, Josh pulled one last trick out of the hat. Josh knew his plan was unorthodox, but he was willing to try anything to see his wife smile again. As teenagers, they'd picked out their future children's names in the hopes that someday they'd have a family together. He'd promised her the world and couldn't help but feel like he was failing. The miscarriage had a horrific effect on Linda's mental health, but Josh's ideas sparked light behind her eyes that they hadn't seen in months. What if his sister became their surrogate? There are risks involved, not to mention the extreme sacrifice if Josh's sister agrees to be their surrogate. This was the biggest favor anyone could ask of another person. They were close, but would his sister agree to such a request? It's a lot to ask of anyone. Could Josh and Linda put this type of weight on her? But what choice do you have when you're entirely out of options? They had to at least try. Josh wasted no time inviting his sister to the house to ask her the favor of all favors. Linda wasn't gonna get her hopes up. Most likely she'd decline their request. She understood though they were asking a lot. After a deep breath, she looked at Linda and said 3 words that changed Linda's world again. "I'll do it." Linda sobbed. Josh thought they were happy tears, and they were, but they were also because she was terrified. All she wanted was a baby, and this was her last chance. What if something went wrong? Josh's sister had agreed to be their surrogate. How are they ever going to repay her? She was going to carry their child for 9 months and if all goes well, give birth to a healthy baby. When Shanice heard the news, she didn't understand how one woman could be so selfless. She was thrilled that she was finally going to be an aunt. Little did she know that Josh's sister would inspire her actions years later. But did Linda's sister-in-law think surrogacy through? After Josh's sister agreed, Linda's delight swiftly wore off and doubt took its place. What if the surrogacy damaged their relationship beyond repair? What if her sister-in-law's bond with a baby was so strong that she struggled to give them over to the couple? Linda pushed those dark thoughts away. She was not going to let her own fear intrude on this happy occasion. They owed it to themselves to try for a child one last time. Due to their pregnancy track record, Josh and Linda struck a deal with one another. If the pregnancy didn't take, they would look into adoption. Who cares if their DNA didn't match the child? There were thousands of children all over the world dreaming of a home with loving parents. Nowhere does it say you have to be related to be someone's parent. Shanice prayed for her sister every night. Not once did she think that her prayers would actually work. Albeit a month premature, Josh's sister gave birth to a beautiful and healthy baby girl. Shanice cried for hours. She'd never been in so awe before. It was as if every moment in her life had led up to her experiencing the miracle of life. Although the pregnancy took a few years, with more than one hardship along the way, Linda finally could call herself a mother. Shanice made a personal promise that day. After witnessing the joy Josh's sister had given them, Shanice vowed that someday she would do the same. She wanted to be as selfless as Josh's sister and help a struggling couple realize their dreams of becoming parents. When that day finally came, she was nervous, but in her head she knew what was going to happen. She watched a surrogacy before, after all. What Shanice didn't know was that her experience was going to be entirely unique. Shanice was 21 when she met the perfect couple. Joanna and Steve were loving and positive, but there was a familiar sadness behind Joanna's eyes. It was the same sadness she saw in her older sister's eyes for years. When Shanice told Linda about helping the couple have a baby, her sister burst with pride. Shanice flew to Los Angeles for the procedure. The pregnancy took and she flew back home. It was everything afterward that didn't go as planned. What 21-year-old is so selfless as to forfeit their first year of legal drinking? I wasn't interested in partying and drinking. I wanted to help another couple fulfill their family dream, Shanice explained. Joanna and Steve were beyond grateful, and why wouldn't they be? Their dreams of starting a family were about to become real. As her pregnancy headed into the 2nd trimester, Shanice started to feel like something was off. They soon discovered she was right. Having no other surrogate references other than Josh's sister, Shanice decided to work for her as long as her protruding belly would allow. She worked 5 days a week, powering through the sickness, nausea, and not to mention the back and ankle pain. Her mantra was reminding herself that it would all be worth it to make Joanna and Steve's dreams a reality. That doesn't mean she was able to shake the worry that something was wrong. Shanice's life went on per usual, the only difference being her large intake of watermelon and the chocolate cravings. But when her stomach blew up like a balloon in the 2nd trimester, she couldn't disregard it. Babies grow the most in the last few months of pregnancy, and her size didn't seem right. If she was this big now, there's no telling what she would look like in a few months. She immediately called her doctor for his take on the situation. Her busy work schedule had kept Shanice from going to the doctor, but now she had some questions. And being a hormonal pregnant woman, she wasn't gonna leave without some answers. She went through the typical steps for her ultrasound, only to have the nurse rush out of the room after a momentary flicker of the monitor. Shanice wasn't expecting the doctor to walk into her room speechless while looking over her ultrasound results. After the doctor just stood there silently, Shanice automatically thought something horrible happened. "What is it? Is something wrong with the baby?" Shanice asked while the doctor just rifled through his paperwork. "Just tell me," she shouted. A doctor that stays silent for this long is never a good sign. The doctor finally cleared his throat and looked up from his clipboard. Shanice never would have guessed the next 3 words that came out of his mouth. "You're having triplets," Dr. Ryan told her. The doctor's fleeting smile did nothing to reassure Shanice. Triplets? Joanna and Steve asked for 1 child, not 3. A million questions raced through her mind. What was she going to tell the couple? What was she going to do if they didn't want the 2 other children? There was no way she was ready to be a single mom with 2 babies. What in the world was she gonna do? Joanna and Steve were beyond ecstatic. They thought their little family was gonna grow by 1, but now they had 2 more to look forward to. Shanice pointed out the 3 little dots on the ultrasound picture, feeling for the first time like everything was gonna work itself out. But as the weeks passed, the aches in her body increased and her stomach never seemed to stop growing. Shanice was a fighter, and she believed that Joanna and Steve's shot at happiness was worth the temporary pain. After hours of labor, Shanice gave birth to 3 beautiful babies, Willow, Daisy, and Harrison. Seeing the 3 siblings, Shanice couldn't help but reminisce about growing up with Linda. The triplets were lucky to have one another and are bound to become the best of friends. Even though I was only 21 and it was a huge responsibility carrying their babies, it was one of the best experiences of my life, Shanice shared. Shanice reminds us that not all heroes wear capes, and one selfless act is enough to change someone's life. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.